Hello there. Today I want to talk about color changing lightsabers, specifically the color changing lightsabers that I've had experience with, ones that I think are fairly common in the industry, and kind of the pros and cons, what I think about the different type, style, its benefits, and some of the downsides. So my experience is pretty much to date mostly with Ultra Sabers. This is what I started with. I'll talk about them just a little bit in the beginning, but for the most part I'm buying from LGT vendors like Fire Sabers, Crimson Dawn, Outer Rim Saber parts. So let's go ahead and get started with the Ultra Sabers. So this is their Dominix V2, and of course I have made some customizations on all my sabers. And I've got other videos on that too, but Ultra Sabers, for the most part, when you buy your saber, you pick a color. So you're almost always limited to one color, unless you buy their Emerald driver, which is very expensive, and it's, you have to plug in your saber to the computer to change the color. You can't change on the fly. I think their Diamond controller has gesture controls or something like that, but that's yet even more expensive. On kind of the more cheap side, and what I like that does kind of change on the fly, is having these RGB buttons. So some of their saber models have this option where you can get a blue, green, red button, and that controls the respective LED. So one of the benefits of this is that I can pick this up off the shelf. I don't have to wake it up. If I want a blue saber, I just hit the blue button. If I want a green saber, hit the green button. Same thing with the red. And they mix too. So if I want a purple saber, I would just activate the red and the blue. I got a nice purple. Same with yellow is going to be green and red. So, I like that. I feel like this is the saber that I actually do pick up off the wall a little bit more often, just to kind of pick it up, swing it around. I have the color, but all my other sabers pretty much, you have to wake them up and then put them back into hibernation mode. So this one I can just pick up and go. So that's the benefit. The downside is, you've got these buttons that are kind of in the way. So luckily this does have kind of a choke point up here, and when I hold it like so, those buttons don't really get in the way. But I am pretty limited into kind of holding this like this. Very similar to like the Anakin Skywalker Graflex, the way that it has all these like gubbins and stuff on the outside. There's only really one good way to hold it comfortably. This is very similar to that in my opinion. Now another downside to color changing lightsabers, and this is true not just for this, but several of my LGT cores, and I imagine several others, but because you've got an LED that has multiple diodes of color to make the different mixes, you're not going to get as bright of a color. So for example, this is the red, and this is a Pox Store Shiva that's only red, and it's much brighter. I can tell that not only in person, but kind of if you look on the flare of my carapace, this guy's a lot brighter because it's only ever going to be red. So I think they have multiple red diodes in here. All right, so let's get into the LGT cores. So this is a small model I've got from Fire Sabers, and again, I've done some customization to it. But and this is actually a saber that has two blades, but just for the demonstration of this video, I'm just going to do the one. And this is very similar to most of my sabers, where you have to pick it up, you have to wake it up, so you hold the switch. Power on. And it's on. So once it's on, you turn it on, and it's on. So now this one actually has two different types of color changing. The first type is what my other sabers have, but the second type is actually my current favorite. But the most common way that you'll see with LGT sabers to change a color is to hold the switch while it's on for 2 blinks. Let go. Now it's in color changing mode, and it slowly goes through the different colors. So it went from a purple to a blue, now it's going to a green, then a yellow. You can kind of see how slow that's going. The benefit of this is that if you want a very specific color, like if you want that magenta or you want that lavender, then you can get it, because you just gotta, once it gets to that color, you just hit the switch and it locks it in. So that's the benefit of this way of changing colors. The downside is it takes a while, and if you want that specific color and you miss it, you gotta wait for the whole cycle. Now that's true of the next way of changing colors, but it's a little faster. So the next way is to hold for 3 blinks, and it'll just skip. There's, I believe, 12 different preset colors in this, and it just skips to that color. So this is much easier to get to a color that I want. I don't know if Sabers actually has all of their cores like this or not, or if they still have some of the older like V6 cores. But this is by far my favorite because not only does it have all the cool features that I'm used to with LGT, but I can get to the color, like I want a green. You know, I can get that much faster than the other method. Even though I can technically get to green much faster with this guy, you know, this has sound and smooth swing and just everything that's should be standard in the market by now. But that's your base slit hilt. So we've got two different ways to change color there. Now let's get into Neopixel. So Neopixel is pretty interesting because let me set this to just a regular color. So this is actually a Profi V2, so it's got a lot of different blade fonts, blade styles in it. And so when you're on just a regular blade style, I'll actually get to a pretty cool blade style here in a minute, but when you're on just kind of a standard blade style, so this is actually kind of the unstable, so it's got a little bit of that flicker. But you'll see it's a nice purple. But if I wanted to change the color, what I have to do is tilt the saber down, hold the switch, and then do a little twist. And you heard that that activation sound. And now it's in color changing mode, and just by twisting the saber, it goes to the color that I want. Now this is really fast, you know, just getting to all the different colors. And you can go back. That's one of the benefits here versus the previous method is that if you passed the color you wanted, you had to keep going around. But in this case, if I wanted this green right here, and I passed it to get to the blue, I can just twist the other way and get back to that green. So I do like that method. The downside with this is that it's really tricky to get exactly to the color that you want because it's sensitive. So sometimes if I'm wanting green, it wants to go this way to go to a cyan or this way to go to a kind of a lime green, and it's hard to get exactly in between. I found that that's a little harder on the primary colors, so red, green, and blue. But with mixes like purples and stuff, you can get to purples and oranges pretty easy. But that's how you would change this on a Neopixel Profi. And then one of the other cool things about these, as a color changing lightsaber, they do have different blade styles. So one of my favorite blade styles on this one, let me actually get to that. So I can actually do an activated mute. So I'd actually do a rainbow blade. So why choose one color when I can have all of them at once? And then the last thing I want to share with you guys is a neat little trinket I got from Sabers. It's a little keychain lightsaber, which is technically also a color changing lightsaber because you know, every time you turn it on and off, it gets to a different color. So red, green, blue, and then there's a couple of mixed colors like yellowish, light blue, purple. I think this is white, and then this is my favorite where it just changes to all the different colors. So I thought that was really cool, and I just wanted to kind of share with you guys the different ways of changing colors on a lightsaber that I've experienced. If you guys want to just leave a comment, let me know what's your favorite, or is there one that I didn't list here? Let me know about it. I'd love to do a little bit more research. But until next time, may the Force be with you.